YouTube? I am back, and today I'm going to be playing my Geargia deck. Now, first off, for those who don't know, Geargia were meta. Ooh, gosh, that's loud. Sorry. But Geargia were meta just a couple of formats ago. Or at least it seems like. Yeah, everything's recording right. But, yeah. Awful hands. But Geargia are really cool deck because they can do a lot of toolboxing. Unfortunately, they don't have many options in the TCG, but in the OCG, they get some new cards. There wasn't an update today. Well, Geargia, that changes everything. When I say that changes everything, I literally mean that literally changes everything. And I make the best player in the world, the MST set cards end turn. And there's no possible better play than MST nothing. It's like MST onto MST to do nothing. But I really wish the update came out today, but I guess, you know, they gotta fix bugs and make sure it's not a flawed piece of crap. Because no one wants to play that. There's some weird people. And I don't know anyone who really want to play a flawed game with bad cards that were awfully programmed. Now we're doing some Geargiano and Geargiano Mark III, whose effect we're not going to use. Now, Gear, Geargia Augur, this would be great to have opened up with. The Gear, it makes also Geargia and X for some reason is in Geargia because logic. Bombless, not today. That's why we're on wiretap. Now, no, not yet. We'll go for Arsenal. But this deck, it's capable of doing a lot of toolboxing, which is basically searching the deck or possibly graveyard, because now this deck can search everything. And it's really cool how this deck has so many options in what it can go into. Although, unfortunately, sometimes it's mostly the same stuff. It's got some really great cards, like Geargia Armor. And last time I spent way too much time explaining, so I'm going to try spending less time explaining after the video and more during it. And the numbers will sort of be self-explanatory. Okay, he lost connection. Geargia, it's really cool, but no one plays the deck. I mean, yeah, Geargia Gear going to 1 was like a huge hit because literally Armor plus Geargia Gear, that was like OTK. No joke. Ha. And do we want to go first? Yes. Rare time we go first because of cards like this. Geargia Augur. Basically, Geargia Augur and Armor make it so that when you go first, you can still plus, or at least, you know, gets the illusion of a plus in the form of, or guaranteed a plus in the future in the form of Geargia Armor. But here's the interesting thing is Geargia and X can search HG Gear Box, which is a 1-on by the way, which is useful for one thing. And that thing is when it's added from my deck or graveyard to my hand, except by drawing it, I can search one of all these monsters. And since you already have an MK2, Geargia Augur seems like an awful great pick. Basically, Geargia Augur can search itself. At the same time, we just generate advantage. We turn to Geargia Augur into a Gear Gigant X, an Ancient Gearbox, and another Geargia. That's +2. Ah, I see. He got around Karakuri's valid machines, but he got around the whole clause where you're not allowed to, where you have to attack if able, by making it so that he was in main phase 2, so that he wasn't actually able to attack. Very good. And yes, you can activate Augur even though you're not supposed to attack or declare or special on, because this game is brilliant for rolling sometimes. I'm gonna make another Geared Gigantax because it's such a useful card. Just lets you XC for days. Because I can get back as soon as he has no response. Go all the way over here, get some of these from my graveyard. I'm also going to get, where is it? Okay. No wait, we don't have the combo for the. Do I want to go for another accelerator? No. I'll search Arsenal because Arsenal is very strong. Has lots of attack. And I'm not saying they're a rule because they don't want it to get MC. And while we might have too many cards, Ancient Gearbox is literally just used for discard fodder. In fact, this is one of very few decks I've ever played, especially on this channel. This is like the only deck I've played that actually has discard fodder. Except Volcanics, but that was a real... Yeah, I guess it was. But if this guy doesn't have instant fusion, then maybe he could still just wipe my board. Depends on what he runs. Depending on what he runs. Okay, that's how it's gonna be. Oh, Call the Haunted. Well, sorry, sir, but we can't let you do that, Star Fox. Because that'd be no good. Now cry every time. Yep, he rage quits. How long is that? 8 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna give it like maybe one more game. Maybe 2. Depends how long it is. Okay. Augur and Gear and the accelerator. Oh boy, this could be fun. Mobius, they should summon a Swamp Frog. Why? To see your Frog Monarchs or Reckless Frogs? Frog Monarchs. Reckless Frogs wouldn't want Treeborn ever. Vanity's Fiend. You're being no fun. I have to kill you then. You must be eliminated. Eliminated. All you have to do is summon a monster. Be stupid. I'm a little... Sorry. Really don't want to have to nag myself by summoning a monster. Ooh. He'll add Spot Frog and summon it so he can ditch more frogs. Darn. He's not gonna summon another monster so he can't torrential him. You're being very frustrating. Unless... Nope. Okay. Now... Rageki? Cover gun. Okay. Do I want to add box? Yeah, I'm gonna add box because box is discard fodder. But box is also search fodder. Because box will let me search MK2. Wait, can box search MK3? No, MK3 is too strong. But I can't search MK2. And now I've got a discard fodder for Karma Cut. So at the very worst, I have to Karma Cut him. If I get lucky, I can Tarantula him. Why would you set a card before main phase 2? If you're going to attack, why set it main phase 1? I mean, there's Malcat. I know it's not commonly run, but it exists. Also, why would you set Amnesty in a deck like that? A deck like this, you don't set Amnesty. Okay. Gear going for OTKs. Am I getting specials on? Do I have a Geargia in my grave? Can't view, but I'm gonna say yes because I think I do. Nope. Summon Arsenal. Its effects on gated Rukers. Okay, let's make our first Gear Gigantx. Now, the OTK sword goes something like this. You activate Gear. You're supposed to have Gear armor, but it's how you can have the accelerator. But if you accelerate your left forward, you can detach that. You add accelerator. Sound accelerator. And you sound accelerator. That's the way I'm gonna do this. Then you sound a Gear Gigantx. This is my variant on the combo. I'm pretty sure this isn't the original way it's done, but I'll do it my way. Now you have to detach the accelerators, that's very important. Fun fact, Geargia Accelerator has an effect when sent from field to graveyard. No one uses it. I mean, you can add a Geargia from your graveyard to itself, which makes it not only useful as a special summon spam card, but also as a recycling card. Too bad you practically never see that second effect. Practically, I mean like literally. Because you got the first effect, you see you can make things like this. What's the point of the second effect? Let's see, calculate 23. That's 6. Okay. Now, just in case this is an OTK, I'm gonna go for Diagusto Emerald. My favorite generic rank 4. To recycle cards. And you. Recycle some stuff and draw. And look, I draw into Accelerator, lol. There, that should be okay. Oh wait, nope. He's got a negate. Battle Fader! Isn't that fun, face? No, it's not. It's cool, all I have to do is warning wherever he summons and he loses. Not the tree one, though. Torrential now! So nobody ever. Why Torrential? Now I guess you contribute for a Mega Mana. Soul Exchange. Oh, you're being no fun. Obelisk, I can't activate anything in response to that. And I have no outs. And by no outs, I mean plenty. Wait, hold on. Do I have anything that doesn't target? That doesn't target. Right, I've got Utopia to Lightning. We're good. Okay, now, it was while we run Utopia to Lightning. We've got one reason. like in the entire world, to run Utopia the Lightning. And that's because it gets over Obelisk. No, just kidding. There are actual legit reasons to run Utopia the Lightning. But you know, this is the reason that anyone would actually use. Because you can't target Obelisk. Because Obelisk's an evil god. Forget what I try to tell you. Obelisk is evil. Divine, not. Obelisk is far from divine. Now it's... And yes, you can recycle Geargia X's because you can recycle everything. So free pluses, yay. You touch this. That's him. He quit. Basically, I would have attacked with the lightning. Lightning would become 5k. That would be able to run him over. That'd be 1,000. Down to 1,800, that'd be 2,800. And these two would be 56. That'd be game, plus whatever I added. Or Arsenal would be the optimal situation for another 1,700. So that's game. Now, we've got 60 minutes worth of duels. Okay, real quick explanation time. Because last time I spent too long. I'm sorry. Okay. First off, these mask changes, they're not supposed to be mask second change. They're actually supposed to be Geargia change, which could be a new card that comes out. I was thinking of running Geargia change over Warning and what was it? It's something else. I think it was Torrential, but I'm not sure. Anyway, Geargia Arsenal. We are created this. Why? Because it searches armor. And despite the fact that we never saw armor in action thanks to Augur, which is a beautiful thing, is that Augur exists. Armor is still a very useful card. Geargia Accelerator. I don't even need to explain. You see, this race car, it accelerates the deck. And this car, it makes it into a race, the deck into a race car. I mean, you've seen what this card can make you do. And this is in Geargia Karakuri, where you've got the Karakuri engine, and you get this as synchro fodder and plus. I mean, this is just such a good card. I mean, this is one of the best cards to come out in like a long time. One of the best theme supports possibly ever, just on its own. I mean, rank 4. This card makes rank 4 as a bitch. Geargia Armor. You know, it was never shown off. Also, it's really cool. All the Geargias are run by the Geargianos. I'll point it all out later. You won't have to watch that part. Anyway, Geargia Armor is very useful because it lets you generate advantage by adding accelerators or augurs. I guess you could add an arsenal. And I mean, if you add an augur, you could add another armor if you wanted. But basically, it searches literally everything. Although augur sort of replaced it because augur is way too amazing. It's just such an amazing card. Yeah, there was one point where I thought augur wouldn't be used because you know battle is thing. I was ridiculously stupid about it. I should say about myself. It's just it wasn't right at all. One ancient gearbox. We saw this in action. It gives you fodder for discard. You could also run Phoenix Wing Blast or Karma just like you know. And there was a point where I ran a Phoenix Wing Blast and Karma Cut, but then it was just too much clogging. Fear Geargia Augur. This card it searches Accelerator, and literally that's the only target you're really gonna be searching. You're gonna be searching Accelerator. Or maybe an arsenal longer than armor. But basically, you're searching Accelerator. So you can make a Geargia attacks and make it. Here, add an Accelerator, an armor, an arsenal, or an ancient gearbox into augur. Because there's no reason not to. Or maybe an Mark 2. Geargiano Mark 3. We didn't get to really see this guy in action. But we saw him once. But when he's summoned, you can summon. But only by Geargia card, you can summon a Geargia from your hand to graveyard in defense position. But its effects are engaged. You can only use this effect once per turn. You can't special summon except Geargia. Personally, I think this is the second worst Geargiano. I mean, maybe I think it's like Mark. Here's the list: Mark 2, Mark 1, Mark 3 are debatable between Mark 1 and 3, but Mark 2 is best by far. You know, we didn't see him in action because again, this deck was too fast. But you can play defensive as well. That's why you got all the defense traps. Anyway, so that's that. Geargiano Mark II. We literally never got this guy off, but he is a +1. He is your Altier. Very useful for... We're not going too late. He's able to revive things, and that's very useful, especially in the Geargia Karakuri variant. Well, Geargiano. You tribute him, you summon Love 4 machine, but it's effective in game. And it's sort of like Mark 3 because in the pure build, you're only running Geargias, but then again, in Geargia Karakuri, this one's much more useful. In fact, if you run Geargia Karakuri, you probably aren't running Mark 3 because then you can't summon. The monsters are the Geargia monsters. That's not good. One Raigeki. It's Raigeki. Okay, for staples, I'm not getting explanations. Raigeki and Soul Charge. No explanation. Free dualities. They add consistency. And considering you could just set armor pass, set back row pass is a viable option. You really don't need to worry too much. Also, it could technically trigger box, but you're probably not going to do that. For MST, I still think MST should always be played at free, unless there's a format, which is literally like just monster mash. Like, if there's a time when just 40 card monster mash becomes a top tier deck, and everyone runs it because it's got like a huge advantage, that's the only reason I think that MST should ever be removed. Because as long as there are stable power traps like these, you should never remove it. Their removal, a card I very rarely see running Geargia decks and Karakuri decks. Really, a lot of decks stopped running this card in machines down on Cyber Dragons, and it's just very useful for getting out OTKs when you don't have enough damage, and in case like you don't want to die. I know it's destroyed during the end phase. Geargia Gear, incredible card. It's the only card to ever be hit by the list, and for good reason. In terms of Geargia, I mean, Red Ox got hit, but that was an indirect hit. Geargia Gear. This card is so strong. This is the reason you run Mark 1 and Mark 3, because otherwise Mark 3 is only summonable off Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 1. That's trash. Basically, Geargia Gear is like it's beyond insane. This card is the reason. Like we run Geargianos that aren't named Mark II. And when you're willing to run near trash cards, okay, not near trash, when you're willing to run practically vanillas just for a card, you know it's good. Because this is a one card XC from your deck. You activate during the end phase, the opponent can't do anything. Bottomless, Pulse, Torrential, and Warning. 4 staple traps, and some people might not think of Warning or Torrential as staple, and sometimes I don't run them, but in less trap area decks, but I still think that they're excellent staples. Free Reckless Greed. It adds consistency and allows for OTKs. It's also useful because, thanks to Armor and Augur, you don't really need to rely on your draw very much. 1 Karma Cut, 1 Ring Instruction. These are both removal cards. Also, this card's useful for game, but they're removal cards that can get around key problems. 1 Vanity's Emptiness. It prevents the key problems from even showing up. And 2 Wiretap to get rid of opponent's traps, because we really hate traps here. We run a bunch of traps anyway. XCs. 1 Fortune Tune. 1 Alucard. 1 Soul Summon. 1 Geargia Gear Gigant XG. Now, which Geargia runs this? I don't even know. It's impossible to tell if this artwork. Probably all of them. But basically, during it's free level freeze during battle step, you can detach between your machine. You can detach a material, negate the effects of all cards your opponent currently controls. Their face up. Also, your opponent can't activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. And when it leaves the field, you can target one other Geargia card in your graveyard and add to your hand. You know what that means? You can technically add Geargia gear to your hand, which is like a major plus. One die gets recycles. The Vowel Train stacks, Exciton Knight, and Castel staples. Ragnar Zero, I still think it was staple. Utopia, you only run if you have S39 and OCG land. Otherwise, you don't run it. So that'd be a staple in OCG land. Free Gear Gigant X. Very useful. Allows you to search your deck, allowing you to go for this into this, or search your graveyard for this, or this into this, or this, or this, but mostly this. And if it somehow dies, you can target level 3 or lower Geargia and special summon it. It's not even when it's destroyed by battle, it just has to leave the field. It's like if you're putting like Gekis with a macro cosmos up, or the card where you still get it. Which means you could get MK free, which could get you Gigiano or Mark II. The Gigianos are the only Gigias that are technically below level 3 without, not technically, they are the only ones. One Dark Rebellion XE Dragon, I still think it is stable. Now, this is the point where you can stop watching, but I will explain. Although, I mean, I guess you could stop watching. Okay. Geargia Attacker. This is a card that I haven't seen many people run, but I consider running it if the format got more spell and trap heavy. Also, new card Geargia Anchor, which is like same thing as this, but slightly different stats. Stats don't matter. But instead, it destroys monsters. So I'm gonna go over my opinions on them both right now. They suck. The monsters one, maybe. Attacker is awful. Attacker is just garbage. No reason to run. You've got, like, no reason when you've got MST to waste your set. I mean, it really is not exciting. Now, real quick. The Geargias and Hooter run by. As you just saw, Attacker is run by Geargiano Mark III. Arsenal is run by Mark II. Armor is run by Mark II. Augur is run by Mark III. And Accelerator is run by Mark I. I don't know who this is run by. And Gear Gigant X is run by 1 and 2. Geargia Gear is a Gear Gigant X launching out of 1 and 2. Now, despite the fact that I generally think of Mark III as one of the worst Geargia monsters, other than the other ones, which are, by the way, also run by Mark III, somehow Mark III manages to run one of the second best one, and despite Geargiano being like also tied with Mark III for worst, it also has one of the best ones. Mark II is two of the best ones. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.